10% of the world's coral reefs have been completely destroyed. In the Philippines, where coral reef destruction is the worst, over 70% have been destroyed and only 5% can be said to be in good condition. Coral reefs all over the world experience detrimental effects to their ecosystems, which contribute to the depletion of the reefs, causing their decay and decrease of species diversity. Two prominent effects are overfishing and seaweed invasion. When a reef is overfished, it changes the balance of species, ultimately having a negative effect on the overall ecosystem. This diagram shows the cycle that happens as a result of overfishing. It shows how the impact of fishing gear has the ability to modify habitats through discarded bycatch, altering ecosystem structure. Overfishing in coral reef areas also affect the ecosystem by depleting these aquatic habitats of species of fish that typically feed on seaweed. This causes seaweed to grow out of control in the reefs, which creates a foul smell unfavored by many fish species. This smell of unhealthy coral drives fish and baby corals away, resulting in the decrease in diversity.
This smell problem, caused by seaweed, is prevalent in Fiji, where coral reefs are declining as a result of seaweed invasions. Dr. Danielle Dixon from the Georgia Institute of Technology worked with a team in Fiji, observing how baby fish and coral can smell the difference between a healthy coral reef and an unhealthy one. Although some believe the key to repopulating reefs is to stop overfishing and leave them alone, researchers found that in order to conserve the reefs, the seaweed infestation must be controlled. When a coral reef decays and seaweed takes over, baby fish and coral polyps are less likely to re-inhabit the coral reef. The research team tested 3 marine protected areas off the coast of Fiji which contain healthy coral reefs and depleted coral reefs. Waters from both the healthy and the depleted coral reefs were taken to experiment which waters fish were more attracted to. The results were that 15 different species of fish chose the healthy reef's water more than 80% of the time. The same sort of experiment was done with the baby coral, or coral polyps, which are essential to repopulation because in order to conserve a coral reef, new healthy coral must inhabit it. From this experiment, it was found that even baby coral moved their hair-like structures, or cilia, towards the healthy water. To make sure the results were correct, the team also contaminated the healthy water with the smell of specific seaweeds. It was discovered that fish and coral avoided the contaminated water just as much as an actual depleted coral reef. Coral larvae float around with the inability to fight against current. For this reason, they rely on their scents to attract them down to healthy coral reefs to settle in. This process is a demonstration of natural selection because selection favors those coral larvae with the ability to sense healthy coral reefs. Coral larvae that lack the smelling sense will land in bad coral reefs, leading to their death. So in essence, human interference to clear out the seaweed is essential to the survival and repopulation of the coral reefs. We cannot just leave them alone with the hopes of their conservation. Seaweed must actively be removed by humans to ensure that species will populate the coral reefs, causing it to thrive and succeed. The coral and fish form a symbiotic relationship, an example of ecology in the interaction between two species. These relationships are essential to the ecosystem and the organisms that live there. The coral and fish coexist without causing harm to one another. However, the seaweed and coral have a different relationship. Seaweed can have a negative or harmful effect on the coral by stunting the growth and blocking the coral from the organisms surrounding it. Fortunately, the fish become a beneficial partner to the coral. Certain species of fish will pull the seaweed off the coral once the fish sense the chemical that the coral releases. Conservation efforts are being made to determine how the problem of dying coral reefs can be handled, and what exactly humans should do to help.